Richard adjusted his tattered shirt as he walked to class. The scorching sun bore down on him, but he barely noticed. His mind was filled with worries, overdue rent, unpaid handouts, and an empty wallet. Life at the university was tough, but he had a secret weapon, Ngozi. Ngozi was everything Richard wasn't. She was wealthy, confident, and full of life. Her father owned a chain of businesses, and her every need was met without question. Despite their differences, she had fallen deeply in love with Richard, the brilliant Yoruba boy who had captured her heart with his intelligence and charm. Richard, Ngozi said one afternoon, handing him a bag of groceries. You need to eat. You can't study on an empty stomach. Richard sighed, taking the bag reluctantly. Ngozi, I appreciate all you do, but I hate this. I hate that I can't take care of myself. Ngozi smiled gently, brushing his cheek. I don't mind, love. You have given me your heart. Let me take care of the rest. Richard nodded, though a pang of shame hit him. He didn't like that Ngozi paid his bills, but he couldn't do anything about it. Years passed, and the couple graduated with second-class upper degrees. Ngozi's father handed her the keys to a brand new SUV at the graduation ceremony. You have made me proud, my daughter, he said, beaming. They also started pestering her to get married. Her dad set her up with his friends' children, but Ngozi wants nothing to do with them. She has her heart set on marrying Richard. Her father finds Ngozi a high-paying job in one of his companies. Richard, on the other hand, had no such celebration or position waiting for him. After months of job hunting, he finally landed a job as an office assistant, earning 50,000 naira per month. It was barely enough to survive, let alone thrive. Meanwhile, Ngozi enjoyed a hefty salary as a director in one of his companies. The gap between their lives widened, and it gnawed at Richard. Though Ngozi continued to shower him with love and support, Richard's resentment grew. He hates his life and snaps at Ngozi at the slightest issue. One evening, Ngozi noticed Richard's mood. Love, you've been distant lately. Did I do something wrong? She asked softly. Richard sighed and looked away. It's not you. It's me. My job sucks. I can't even afford basic things. And look at you. Director of a company. It's humiliating. Ngozi reached for his hand. You're brilliant, Richard. Things will get better. Plus, remember I graduated with a second-class upper. But Richard snapped. I graduated with a second-class upper too. Will you shut up? Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, love. I didn't mean to upset you. Realizing his mistake, Richard feels bad and pulls her into a hug. I'm sorry for shouting. Please forgive me. I'm just so frustrated and I lost myself for a second. Ngozi wiped her tears and smiled. It's okay. I'm sorry for making you angry. I'll transfer my salary to you. I don't need it. Richard hugged her tightly. Thank you, love. You're too good to me. Ngozi's dad notices that he hasn't seen his daughter's new car in a while. The last time he saw it was 8 months ago. He calls her driver and asks him where Ngozi's SUV is. What happened? Is it faulty? Why didn't you tell me so I could get her a new one? The driver responds, Sir, I've been meaning to tell you. Ngozi gave her car to her boyfriend. Boyfriend? Ngozi's father asks. The driver tells him everything. He's livid and proceeds to summon Ngozi from work. He shouts at her. You are fooling a nobody, a Yoruba boy, with nothing to his name, A gold digger! I ban you from going anywhere near that boy. Ngozi is defiant. Daddy, I refuse. Please, please, Dad. I love him. And I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. Please, Dad. Understand me. Shut up! Her dad screams. What's love? You're an adult, right? I'll show you why I'm your father. He calls his bodyguard to bundle her into the room and lock it. Afterward, he takes some policemen to Richard's house. They arrest him and take him to the station where he stays for weeks. Ngozi refuses to eat upon finding out about Richard's situation. Her mother pleads with her dad saying, Daddy Ngozi, if my only child dies, I'll die with her and my spirit will haunt you. Dear, please release this boy now. After much persuasion and not wanting to lose his only child, he set Richard free. It wasn't too long afterward that Richard and Ngozi got married. Ngozi's father reluctantly blesses the marriage. He only wants the best for his daughter, and if that be Richard, he'll make him the best for his daughter. He finds Richard a top job in one of his companies, gives them a mansion and 3 cars as a wedding gift. 30 years had passed since Richard and Ngozi became married. Richard hated the fact that his father-in-law practically handed him his life. Every day at the office, he did the bare minimum. His resentment towards Ngozi and her father simmering beneath the surface. What can he do? Sack me? Richard often said, chuckling with arrogance. The old fool loves his daughter too much to see her suffer. Ngozi, ever the doting wife, noticed Richard's frequent drinking. One evening, he staggered home, reeking of alcohol. She tried to confront him gently. Richard, where are you? You didn't pick my calls. Before she could finish, Richard slapped her. The blow shocked her, not just physically, but emotionally. She clutched her cheek, tears welling up as the man she loved and sacrificed everything for towered over her. When her father hears about this incident while on a trip outside the country, he loses his mind and is determined to teach Richard a lesson. Ngozi pleads with him, saying that she made him angry and that he was only trying to discipline her. Ngozi's dad begins to wonder if Richard used charms on his daughter. She doesn't see the beast she's married to, the gold digger. He'll save his daughter from that beast, he thinks to himself. However, before he could act, tragedy struck. On the flight home, the plane carrying Ngozi's parents crashed, killing both of them. Ngozi was heartbroken. Losing both her parents in one day left her in shambles. Her father's will left everything, his businesses, properties, and wealth to her. But instead of stepping into her father's shoes, Ngozi handed everything over to Richard. She wanted to avoid getting her husband mad at her and making him feel less like a man. Weeks after assuming control of Ngozi's dad's empire, Richard demanded that Ngozi resign as director of the company and become a stay-at-home mom. Why work when we have all this money? Focus on being a mother, he said. Ngozi reluctantly agreed. Her days became boring, confined to the house. Richard goes further, insisting she only uses the Uber cab ride instead of the luxury cars in the compound. I will also order it for you, so you must always tell me about your whereabouts, he commanded. 2 years later, Ngozi gets the shock of her life. Her husband brings home another woman.